Hi there, I'm Beth Griffin of Thai Herbal Topicals, and I'm here to answer a few questions about facial rollers compared to each other as well as compared to facial gua sha. So why do we want to use facial rollers? The primary reasons that we're trying to um, use the facial rollers are lifting and toning the face, helping to smooth the texture of the skin, helping to prevent and treat the formation of fine lines and wrinkles, and also creating lymphatic circulation and blood circulation, an increased amount of both of those to the face to help refresh our cells and keep them healthy. So I've been working on learning really the most efficient way to accomplish that, both with a self-care practice at home and in clinic. So I'm really interested in helping my patients learn how to do a really quick type of self-care. They don't have to think about too much, and that will easily fit into their facial care routine. But will effectively work to continue the effect of the treatment that I have accomplished in clinic. So when we look at the facial rollers, there are a lot out there that look like this. These are referred to as a jade roller. They're wonderful for basically helping to smooth the face. People use them to actually kind of prepare the face for topical serums. It does actually, because of the movement along the surface of the skin, it actually does really gently and effectively help the serums to actually move deeper into the skin. And they can, be soothing. They're cold at room temperature. They feel cold to the skin at room temperature, so they feel cooling and soothing. This little end to me it kind of works around the eye, but in my opinion, I don't really like the design of the pinchers. Often these can fall off because it's just a mild depression in the stone. That's the only problem with these, is sometimes the pinchers will come apart and then the stone can fall out. But in general, there's a lot of high quality versions of these that are starting to come out. They're less likely to break, such as a Jade Roller Beauty brand. And these will basically be used as a lymphatic movement tool. I wouldn't use them for strong pressure of massage because of the likelihood of them popping out. And that's not good. So here's another version. It's kind of like for a little bit of detailed work. You can use this for really, really light lymphatic drainage. And then also, I like this type of tool. Oftentimes people will have even just a stone that looks like this part here. But the key is having an easily manipulatable acupressure point that is a gentle stone tool, similar to tation or touching needle. This really feels lovely, but it's a pretty small area of impact, just to influence the acupuncture points. So again, the effect of this is lymphatic and smoothing and application of products. So the next one is the textured roller. This one's metal, and this one is jade or jadeite or quartz of some sort. These ones I don't really like because I don't like to sterilize them. I feel nervous about, this one I can because I can dunk it in Sporox. This one I cannot because it's stone, and it's hard to actually swipe the surface of this effectively. So this one is used, though, to try to help stimulate the collagen a little bit more than a smooth roller would. I think it might have a mildly more significant impact to stimulate the collagen than the smooth roller, because it does dig into the tissue a little bit. It might pink up the skin a little bit more quickly than a smooth roller. I actually like these more for the body. You can use them more vigorously on areas of cellulite. So you can use them on the thigh or the arms, any area where you might have more cellulite buildup. Or you can also use them more vigorously again, which it might turn red, for scars and that type of thing. But on the face, in order to have a strong enough impact, I feel like it would be too irritating to the skin. In that case, I would much rather use the textured Gua Sha tool with the ridges, or even a jade comb. I don't have an example of that, but it's basically this, but it's just a little bit more pokey of ridges. And because of this, you actually get this textured approach, but you also can just really lightly smooth the skin. And if I can get a good image, it does turn pink along those lines. So you have a directional movement along the surface of the skin that is engaging at the connective tissue level, which is what we really need to get in order to stimulate collagen. So if you really want to work on collagen stimulus, I would recommend the facial Gua Sha tools, especially the ones with a little ridged edge like a jade comb or this beautiful white nephrite tool from Nepheli. I love it so much. Then moving on to the last type of roller, this is my type of roller, available at Thai Herbal Topicals. And this one is a bit newer version. There's some of this type that are metal and angled that I don't have as a demonstration, but those are more for helping with the muscle. This too, because of the double roller, it can engage in the muscle level more. The surface area that's touching your skin is a little bit smaller, and because there's two heads, it can kind of grab the tissue in between slightly. I really like this one for really engaging into the muscle level and a little bit more deeply into the connective tissue than this one. So you can see here and here, they have a very different impact. When there, you kind of just bump against the bone. And with this one, you can actually dig in under the bone, and you can feel in greater detail where the muscle restrictions are, and you can actually work on them. I still wouldn't press very hard because, again, the element is metal and potentially bendable that they roll on. So we have to be careful about that, not to press too hard. And we don't want to press too hard anyway because you don't have to in order to engage the muscle. So we're pressing lightly here, and you can see that work. To still move, you see the fluid movement, and then you can also see the muscle, and it turns pink quite easily as well. That happens on my face easily, but it's good for demonstration purposes because you can see the amount of impact it can have on those acupressure points. And then, of course, you can use it around the eye really easily, gently, and safely. And it's quite soothing for that tissue. This one is lapis lazuli. It is a little bit softer than the quartz. It's about a 5.5 on the Mohs scale, and quartz is between 6 and 7, even up towards 8. Nephrite is more between 6 and 7, and the quartz, including amethyst, are 6.5 to 7.5. Sorry. So that is my differentiation between the rollers. So again, digging in a little bit more with the double roller, doing the broader application of the topicals, helping them absorb with this one. And then this one you get the more detailed work to build up the muscle memory to lift the tissue around it. So our muscles are going to help stimulate the collagen as well by remembering the relaxed position to be in that will allow the collagen to, that will allow the interstitium, the connective tissue, to plump up with the right amount of fluid when the muscles are relaxed and the connective tissue isn't stretched tight. So we have to allow the muscles to relax. We have to plump up the interstitium with its fluid medium. And then we want to refine the texture of the skin and move the lymph. So this one is also really good for moving lymph, but the surface area isn't as big as this one, so it might take a little bit longer. In order to refine the texture of the skin, you really need to work with a Gua Sha tool. So the thing I like about this nephrite Nepheli tool is that it has a lip here. You can see actually it grabs into the skin here. So it actually hooks in slightly and allows me so easily to create the mildest form of friction right across the surface of the skin. And it's so light, but it's so effective for refining the texture and smoothing the pores and shrinking pores, really. And then we can use the acupressure points to help work along the wrinkle lines. So even just this super light pressure will stimulate this area to reconsider how it is forming this wrinkle line. And then you can always roll along that area, but really it's doing nothing more than just pressing against the skin repeatedly in a series of positions. With this one, actually, you are moving across. You're moving across the line. And so we need both of those actions. We need to stimulate the muscle underneath, stimulate the connective tissue in the interstitium, and then again work on both of those levels, the dermis and the interstitium here, to complete the effect of sculpting, lifting, and toning and refining the skin tone. In the clinical setting, we can get into a lot more detail with working on hyperpigmentation, deeper lines, scars, hypopigmentation, problems with chronic inflammation, that type of thing. But just for self-care at home, a basic routine of, in my opinion, my favorite is this one. That's why I sell it. This one followed by a tool like this, or you can easily use a tool that's a little bit simpler. It still has some mild ridges and a texture that can help engage the tissue quite easily. So that is my summary of how I envision the use of the rollers and the facial gua sha at home together. It's a very general summary, and I hope you enjoyed it and then answered some questions for you of how one might use the different tools at home for different purposes. And please let me know if you have any questions. I would be happy to answer them in a future tutorial. Thank you.